Welcome everyone to the Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa and you can find me as Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I welcome you to my home. If you're new to the podcast, I live in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is a little seaside town just north of Boston. I work in Boston, so I commute back and forth on a daily basis. Marblehead is just a wonderful old town. We live in a very old house. We're renting a beautiful old house this year. We just recently moved back last year. So we're still in the process of figuring out the type of place we'd like to buy. But we're renting this gorgeous old house that was built in 1750, and we have wonderful pieces of history here. So we can see we have this wonderful old fireplace. There's a fireplace in every single room in this house. It's fantastic. Now, the floors are a little bit off. Sometimes we're tilting as we're walking, but it's a really wonderful place. It's a treat to be here. Today the name of this episode is going to be "She's Back," and that would be because Sophia has returned from Japan. So that's very exciting. So she'll be joining us a little bit later. So today we're going to talk about one finished object that I have, my works in progress, and we will talk about the knit along that's going on in our Ravelry group right now, and then we'll have probably lots of chatter at the end. So let's get started. Finished objects, or object this time around. I only have one, but it's beautiful. It's totally beautiful. I finished the Lomond shawl, which is by Meg Gadsby, one of my favorite designers. I love what she does, and it is out of yarn that was gifted to me by Candy from the Pause for Stitches podcast, and it's Dragonfly Fibers. And this is a skein of yarn that I think it was called. Let me see, I have it here. Headless Horseman, and this was their Rhinebeck colorway from last year when we went to Rhinebeck. So I was lucky enough that Candy gave me this beautiful skein of yarn. It's lace weight. So this was a project that I had to knit in lace weight, which is not something that I usually do or have done in the past, if you're familiar with my knitting history, but I really enjoyed it. I super enjoyed it. This pattern also was gifted to me by Helen, Sprite966. Hi Helen, thank you again for gifting me this. That was so sweet. When I had mentioned several podcasts ago that I was planning on knitting this pattern, the next day I had a little message in my Ravelry box that she had gifted to me, so that was so special. But this is beautiful. Now, it's actually very interesting. If you could see on my Instagram feed, I did post up a picture of it hanging out on my mother-in-law's laundry line. I love to do that. It's a great way to block shawls because you're really just letting you're letting gravity do all the work for you. It really works wonderfully. And being by the ocean, there's always some type of a breeze in the afternoon, so it really doesn't take long for my projects to dry, which is really fantastic. And I don't have to worry about pinning it out, finding a place big enough for it to dry. It really is very convenient. I love doing it. I'll do it. I'll do it for as long as I can until the real deep winter sets in. But it was great. So here it is, the right side, yes. So here it is. It's really gorgeous, just beautiful. The colors are probably a little brighter on screen than they are in real life, but it's beautiful. It's autumnal. It just looks like the colors of the leaves at Rhinebeck. There's just these beautiful pops of purple in it as well. And the pattern is just wonderful. Actually would be a really great pattern for someone who's starting out doing lace and has never done it before, because there are lots of stockinette panels, and then we have some beautiful lace panels, small panels, larger panels, but it's a very large, it's a wrap, so it's just a very large rectangle, and it is just going to be beautiful to wrap around me when the weather starts to get a little bit cooler before the deep winter sets in. And so I'm really looking forward to wearing this. What was interesting to me is that I'm not sure if you can see it anymore. It actually, because I probably had it laying out flat again. But my mother-in-law took it off the line and she folded it up. And I didn't really think about this, but when you have lace weight yarn, I guess probably with lace weight, I don't think it would happen as much with DK or with worsted weight yarn. The lace weight yarn is so delicate that when she folded it up and she just left it up on one of the beds upstairs, So when I went to pick it up again, it was creased because she had folded it up. So it wasn't it wasn't as lovely as it had been on the line. And I was like, oh, I might have to reblock that again. But I actually had this up and open, and it doesn't really seem to have too many creases in it now. She really had it folded up in a small rectangle. So actually that's probably a good learning tip. Just kind of open it up and let it kind of loosen up a little bit again, and any of those creases would go away. But I love it. I'm so happy with it. I haven't woven in the ends yet, as you can see. I'm probably flapping some string here, but I'll be doing that, and then I will be looking forward to wearing this beautiful, beautiful shawl when the weather gets a little bit cooler than it is today. So that's my one and only finished object. I know it's a good one, but it's my one and only finished. I've been working on a lot of things upcoming. So let's move on to works in progress. Works in progress. What have I been up to? What haven't I been up to? I think I have so many projects on the go. The first one I think I'll talk about are my Slip and Swirl socks by Chris Loves Wool. They were gifted to me by my friend Amy, and I got the yarn that I'm using on these socks from the Knit Local Getaway that we went to, the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour. This was on the swap table, and so I grabbed it as soon as I saw the colors. So this yarn is from Epteno Knits. So you can see that. It looks like it's a one-of-a-kind colorway called Extinct. So it's Extinct. It's a one-of-a-kind, and it's just beautiful sock yarn. It's so soft. So here's the pattern. I have one sock done, and the other is probably a little more than halfway done. But isn't that great? I love the color. The green and the white is just perfect. And usually on this type of yarn, so it's very variegated, I usually wouldn't do too much of a pattern because you really would miss out on the pattern. If you were trying to do cables, you really wouldn't see them very well just because of so many gorgeous color changes in this yarn. However, with the Slip and Swirl sock pattern, it's just a very simple slip stitch pattern. So in different rows, you're slipping different stitches. It's it's very easy. Once you know what you're doing, it's very easy to keep up with the pattern. But it just gives it a little bit. It's not even texture. It's just a little bit of a different pattern. You can really see that. You can see the bottom of the sock here, which I just was knitting plain vanilla, just doing stockinette here, and then you can see the top of the sock has. You can really see a little bit of a difference because it's got just a little bit of a pop of interest with those slip stitches. So I'm really happy with this. I've always liked slip stitch patterns because they're pretty easy to do. They're not really complicated. There's not a lot. You're not looking at a lot of charts. It's once you know which stitches to slip, it's really very easy to keep going. But it also gives you a little bit of interest when you're knitting a pair of socks, and then it really gives you a really kind of cool effect all the way down. Now I do obviously the bottom of the sock. I'm not having any pattern. I do the pattern on the top, and then I do the pattern all the way around with ribbing. This is a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I always do my socks toe up. I find that the easiest for me, toe up and magic loop. That's just kind of my formula. Toe up, magic loop with the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I use this heel because it's a slip stitch heel and it fits my foot very, very well. Now that I've done it enough times, I almost have it pretty well memorized. But it's a great heel pattern to try if you're interested in doing short row heels. But this is just really my formula. It doesn't matter what type of pattern I'm doing. I always do them toe up with the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I just do the patterning around. Now I'm going to also show you. Someone had asked me a question about kind of being nervous when you're doing toe up. How do you figure out where your heel is going to be? You can just do the regular measurements of whatever number of inches you need while you're working toe up before you need to start the heel. Another little tip or trick. I don't know if I've shown this before, but basically the measurement between your wrist and your elbow is exactly the same size as your foot. So, if push comes to shove and you don't really know where you're going to go, you can take a look and see. That's probably not going to work very, very well, but you can see that the toe is up here at my wrist, and the bottom of the heel is down here at my elbow. So for me, that I need about, I suppose that's about 2 inches of extra space to do the heel. So that works out really well. What happens to me is I just kind of know what the measurement is. The other nice thing about doing a sock toe up is that you can try it on. So you can see exactly where you need to start your heel, because you can try it on. Now the Fish Lips Kiss heel pattern also has a really great tutorial about how to figure out where you're going to start the heel. You can make a cardboard cutout of your foot, and it really it's great. There's just so much really great information in that pattern. I think it only cost $1 if I remember, so it's really something that's great. For me, what I end up doing, I kind of will figure out, I know kind of where I'm doing. I've done them so many times, but so I'm trying on the first sock, and when I get the heel is all set and ready to, it's in the right place, what I can do on the second sock is basically, if I'm on the bus, because this is where I do most of my sock knitting, is commuting to Boston in the morning, and I might not want to take my shoes off to try my sock on. So if I have the first one done, I can literally put them together on the bottom, and I can see exactly where the heel needs to start. So I know if I'm knitting on that second sock that once I get to that point, I'm like, oh, there we go, it's time to put the heel in. And that way your heels match up exactly. They're going to fit my feet perfectly, and I've done my heel, and now I'm onto the foot here. Oops. I have a little cat trying to get in the door here, so you might hear a little bit of a jingling. Yes, she has visited me. She's pushed the door open, and she's walking around exploring. So that's what that little jingle is. And I think there was a jingle last time. I don't even hear it. I suppose a lot of people are like that. To me, it's just background noise, because I always hear it, because she's got a little bell on. But Sophia actually had mentioned to me, she's like, Mom, the cat must have been walking around you, because I could hear the jingling the last time, and you didn't even mention it. Like, it's because I don't really hear it. But now I do, so you probably hear a little bit of a jingle. I think she's going under the bed. We're up in the bedroom again this time. It's very, very cloudy. It was very stormy this morning. I think it's going to be stormy later on today as well. So I thought that the downstairs where I podcasted the last time, it's probably a little dark down there for today. So I thought I would come up once again to the bedroom and do it in here. So that's why she's up here, and she's now gone in into her afternoon siesta. What a life these cats have. So those are my Slip and Swirl socks. I'm very, very happy with them. I'm super pleased. I'm really excited to be almost done with the second one. I'll have a great pair of socks, and I'm really looking forward to it. That yarn is incredibly soft as well. It's beautiful. It's some type of merino mix. Whew, it is super, super soft. Gorgeous yarn to knit with. The next one that I have been working on, I haven't done very much on this yet. This is probably going to turn into my next commuter knitting project, but I have started it. I think I mentioned it last time, and this is called the Knit Night shawl. And I've been exposed to this pattern because Melinda of the Yarn Dear Woman podcast has knit a bazillion of these. She knits them all the time. She gifts them, and it's such a great pattern because it's called the Knit Night, because basically once you understand what you're doing, you're just doing some increases on both ends. So the pattern is really simple. You don't have to think about it at all. So it's perfect if you're going to knit night or going out with a group of friends and you want to pull out some knitting. It's really simple, and but it's really super gorgeous. And so what will end up happening is it will be a long, fairly skinny kind of shawl or shawlette. What I will plan on doing this is probably actually kind of wrapping it right around my neck, maybe over a turtleneck, and kind of wearing it almost as a cowl or kind of an accent piece. That way I wouldn't really be wearing it around my shoulders, but I'll be wrapping it around, and it's perfect for that. So this is, which is the front? This is the front. This is gorgeous. This is the beautiful, beautiful yarn that I purchased from Meadow. She lives in Iceland, and she has the Sinew and Stone hand painted yarn shop, and this is her card, and she's on Etsy. she has the most wonderful color sense. She puts together these colors. They are just gorgeous, jewel-like, unbelievably beautiful. I was so excited to have purchased a skein of her yarn because her color sense is amazing. If you don't, you should follow her on Instagram. She's Sinew and Stone on Instagram, and the pictures will just make you swoon. They're just beautiful, and I love the idea that this is from Iceland. I think Meadow's actually from New York State originally, so she grew up not too far from where I grew up. So it's that's kind of a fun connection as well. But she's doing some beautiful work, and I love it. I'm so happy with this. This yarn is gorgeous, beautiful. I love the colors. I think it's perfect for this type of project, because really with this type of project, it's garter stitch. You're knitting back and forth, so it's really going to show off all of the colors in the yarn. So that's really the color of the yarn is what's going to be the focus of attention. So this is a great pattern for that. And this yarn should just be the focus of the attention. You don't really need to do anything fancy with this at all. It's just gorgeous the way it is. See, I love those little pops of rust and green, and it's beautiful. I'm really going to be excited to just kind of have this to wrap around my neck this fall and winter. So that again is the Knit Night Shawl it's by Louise Aspingham. You can find that on Ravelry. The next project that I want to show you is my Bruntsfield vest. This is a pattern by Isolde Teague. It is a vest, so it's going to be my Rhinebeck sweater this year. So if you come to Rhinebeck and you see me, you will know who I am, because I will be wearing this very colorful Fair Isle vest. So I'm really, it's just beautiful. I love it. Every time I take it out, I'm so excited as to how it's coming out. It's really beautiful. This is I'm gonna wear this all winter. I know that I'm gonna just wear this all winter. Like every day, people at work will be going, "Oh, you got that on again?" Like, absolutely, I love it. It's just beautiful. I'm probably about 6 rows away from starting to put in the steeking stitches. This is a steeked pattern. Again, as I've mentioned before, this is really why I wanted to do this, because I've never steeked before. So this will be kind of an easy way to get into it. So the steeking will be, there's a V-neck, so I'll be cutting the yarn and steeking here, and you also steek under the arms, so you'll do the underarms as well. And so the pattern continues around. It's around and around in Fair Isle all the way up, and you add a collar around the armholes, and also a ribbing around the armholes and around the neck. So this is it. I'm getting there. Rhinebeck is getting closer. It's hard to believe it's getting closer, but it is, and I'm really happy with this. I'm excited to see it when it's finished. I'm enjoying working on this. It's great. When I do Fair Isle, I use my right and my left hand, so I'm flicking with one hand and I'm doing continental with the other. So that really works for me. I'm not necessarily great at it or very fast, but actually working on a project like this is really nice, and you're only using 2 colors per row, so they're not the same 2 colors each time. You're switching colors, but again, it's a great it's great practice for doing that. I'm using Knit Picks palette, of course, Knit Picks palette for this, and because Knit Picks the palette is 100% wool yarn, I'm not going to be weaving in the ends. You can do this with Jameson Smith. A lot of patterns you can, a lot of yarn you can do this. You can do this with. Kate Davies a lot of times will say, just don't bother to weave in the ends when you're doing something like this, because the yarn will kind of felt together. Just kind of cut it down close, not too close, but I'll trim them up. And really, the ends of this are going to be on the side, underneath the arm, so it's not really going to add it very much bulk at all. It's fingering weight yarn, so it's pretty thin, and I think I've already, I wonder if I trimmed up some. Yeah, I have trimmed up some on the inside, so they're not really very long ends, and they've already kind of started to felt together. There are no issues. I think I've kind of whip this in and out all the time of my basket, and I'm always using it, but I have there's really no issues with the yarn trying to pop through or having any trouble with that at all. So it's a great tip, especially when you're doing so many colors, and if you don't have to sew them in, that's really makes a big difference. So I'm very pleased with this. I'm going to keep on going, so everybody can see it at Rhinebeck. Then the last project is it's just knitting project for me. You know that I always like to say that to people, and I have no shame. I'm going to show you exactly what happened on this next project, because it happens to everybody. Don't feel bad if you make a mistake on a project. Don't feel embarrassed. Happens to the best of us. Happens to everyone. So as I said, I have no shame. I'm more than happy to show you exactly what I did. We are having a Let's Get Sophia Knitting Again knit along in our podcast group, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. I just had this in my stash. So, and it's a beautiful gray color. It's for Sarah, Fiber Truck. I do knit in some gray, and here it is. Here it's just going to be so beautiful. So for me, Hepzibah is kind of it's kind of an antique name. You really don't find anybody with having that name again. It's certainly a name that would have been familiar to anyone living in Marblehead or Salem, Massachusetts. We are the next town over from Salem, Massachusetts. So we have, the Witch City. So we have all of that history here as well. So Hepzibah, to me, is a perfect name for where I live. And this color, I think, is a perfect color for it, because this is obviously going to be a fall and winter shawl. So I think this dark gray is just beautiful. And this shawl has some lovely accents to it. It has some open work here, yarn overs. It has a little bit, some lace work going on here, and it has baubles, which are really very easy to do. Certainly the way they are written up in the pattern, they're great. So you can see how they really stick out there, and they really stick out too because this is worsted weight yarn. So there's a lot of oomph to this yarn. So these baubles they're not going anywhere. They're going to stick right out there. But what a great accent! What a great accent! Now, as you can see, I've been working along on this project. It's an asymmetrical shawl, so it starts out at one point, and then it gets bigger as it goes along. And I've been keeping track of my stitch counts. I have the right stitches on the needles. I'm doing okay. I'm doing great. And then I had a message from Janine actually this morning, because I had posted a picture on Instagram. I had a message from Janine. She's like, She goes, did you skip one of the sections? Are you just like, are you gonna not do that garter stitch section in there? And I was like, what did I do? And I was in the car when I got this message. When I came back, I was like, let me take a look at that, because I'm like, I'm sure I have the stitch count right. What the heck did I do? Well, yeah. It's just knitting. So you can see down here at the beginning, there's this lovely open work section created with some yarn overs, and then there's a couple of rows of stockinette, and then there's a garter stitch section. So you've got some ridges here, and then you've got some more of that open work, and you've got some stockinette and some baubles, yeah, and some lace work here, yeah. And then if you look at this, I have this huge panel of plain stockinette. Yeah, huge panel. Yeah, because I totally skipped a garter stitch section. Totally skipped it. It's one of those things, you're reading the pattern going, yeah, I know what that says. Yeah, okay, yep, garter stitch section, yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah, no. Just in my mind, I was just like knitting and purling, not paying attention at all. I totally missed. So, I'm going to have a little frogging party this afternoon. I wouldn't, normally I probably would, depending upon the situation, I might potentially not do that. But that's a mighty big section there. that really needs to have some texture in it. And I really want to do justice to this pattern as well. So it really needs it. So, and this goes so fast because it's knit on, with worsted weight yarn. It's like flying. It's flying. I forget what it's like to work with worsted weight yarn when I work so much with fingering weight. When you're fingering weight yarn, you just feel like, woo. I need to do some sweaters in worsted weight because boy, this is great. This is great. It's going so fast. But yeah, we're gonna have a little frogging party this afternoon. I'll get back to where I forgot to add that section. But yeah, it's just knitting. So don't feel bad if this happens to you. Do not feel bad. Because it happens to the best of us. And how long have I been knitting? I don't even know how many years. You just always think you know better than the pattern. Of course you do. Of course you do. Anyway, yep. So we'll be correcting this later today. Yes, absolutely. So that's all I think that's all I have on the needles right now. I think so. Yeah. I definitely have some inspiration from some other podcasts, but I think that's it for right now. All right, so let's move on to a little talk about the knit along and some chatter. All right, look who is here. She's back.
Hi.
Sophia has arrived back in the United States after her long year in Japan, and we're very excited to have her back again. It was great because I watched Knitography yesterday afternoon, and then last night, and Patricia had her 19-year-old daughter, I think, on, Emma Grace. It was lovely to see her, and I was like, oh, isn't that nice? And then tomorrow I'm going to record with Sophia again. How's it feel to be back in front of the camera there, girly?
Weird.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like here.
Thanks.
So she's moved in to the third floor of our little house here in Marblehead. So she has an entire floor all to herself. I mean, it sounds really big. It's not that big, but it's nice. She has her own bathroom. Yeah. So her dad was using that bathroom upstairs until she came back. Now I have to share the bathroom again. I'm sure all of you out there know what that's like. Go from your own bathroom to having to share again. But we'll survive. We will survive. So we are having a knit along right now in the podcast group called Let's Get Sophia Knitting Again. And why would that be? Have you done any knitting while you were in Japan? No. Well, some. You did some every now and again.
I did like a little.
Yeah, and you did at Christmas time when you went to visit Emma.
Yes, I did.
You guys were knitting. You were knitting when you went to England.
Yeah.
So, but she hasn't really done much. So we are having a knit along, and the knit along is really for any project. You can just throw in any project that it can be a whip that you're working on, start something new. Maybe you're thinking about doing a hat or a sweater or something for Rhinebeck. Great, come on along. We just need some encouragement for her to kind of get back into it. She wants to. You want to get back into it.
No,
she has,
I do. I just haven't.
3 pairs of socks that have one sock done and not the other. Yeah, that happens. But as I had mentioned in the earlier section, I'm knitting the Hepzibah shawl, which is going to have a little bit of a frog party this afternoon. But one of the gifts, I just wanted to show this again. One of the prizes for the knit along is going to be a pattern from Janine, the pattern that I test knit, the Exa shawl. So I wanted to show that again. So we'll be giving this pattern away, and oops, that's the back side. But this is this is so beautiful. This is Janine's actual yarn that she dyed as well. So the colors are gorgeous, but you can really use any 2 colors. Yeah, I suppose you could use 1 color if you wanted to on this, but it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It's lovely. It's done in DK weight yarn, so it goes really fast. And it is just gorgeous. It has lots of interest, got some interesting texture stitching here. It has some lace here, some garter stitch. Some garter stitch. I need to go back and do that. And some striping. And so this was just a joy. This was a joy to test knit for Janine. And so she has offered the podcast a copy of this pattern as a giveaway for a prize for the knit along. So that will be one. We'll have a few more prizes as well. We'll kind of put our heads together and get a couple more things for the podcast. But I just like this, yeah. But I thought I would just let everyone know. So there is a chatter thread already up in the podcast group, the Knitting by the Sea podcast group on Ravelry. So come on over and join. You can join in anytime. We're going to be holding this through August and through the end of September, I think. So plenty of time. So that gives Sophia some time to get back into maybe finishing a pair of socks, or
Don't know what you mean.
or doing a new pattern perhaps.
Oh, that I'm definitely doing.
Yes, that you're definitely doing. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Do you have a picture of it on the?
A picture of the pattern?
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean the shawl.
The shawl? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
a knitter. I've got this stuff.
Just got it on her.
Mom.
So Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, Kay came out with a beautiful new shawl pattern called the Longbourn shawl. Is that it? Yeah. Oh yes.
You can't really
Oh, yeah,
see
you
it,
can see
but
it.
you
It's
can kind of
gorgeous.
see it. You get the idea.
Yeah, it's on Ravelry.
Yeah.
If you just search Bakery Bears or the Longbourn
Oh, wait, I'm using that.
shawl. It's really pretty. It just came out yesterday. They've been talking about it quite a bit. It's inspired by Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
And Kay has actually, I know she's dyed some special yarn kits. I have no idea if they're still available. I think they're probably
They're
gone.
probably
They probably
gone.
they go like that. But
Yeah.
I bought it yesterday. Actually, I got the pattern yesterday, and I knew Sophia was interested in it. And by the time, it was probably mid-morning, I was actually going to gift it to her, and I got all ready to do so, and it was like, Ichigo Knitter has already purchased this pattern. Do you still? So I was like, oh no, I don't have to now.
I know. I was like, dang
So I
it.
just bought my own. So I am definitely going to be knitting it as well. That'll be kind of in the future knitting, but it's just a beautiful, gorgeous shawl.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Got a
Absolutely
cabled
gorgeous.
edging on
Yeah.
it and some really pretty texture stitching in the body of it. So it's beautiful. I'm really looking forward to seeing yours when you get it. I think she's going to cast that on this afternoon.
Right after this.
And you want to show the yarns that you chose? We went to the yarn shop this morning, and we happened to run into my friend Kayleen of Little Bean Crochet, and she has an Etsy shop. Little Bean loves crochet on Etsy.
It's just
Little Bean Loves.
No, it's littlebeancrochet.etsy.com.
That's it. And she sells some yarn in our local yarn shop as well, Marblehead Knits, and she happened to be there. I think she teaches a crochet class on Saturday morning. We ran into her there today, which I haven't seen her in a while, so that was really great. And so Sophia wanted to purchase some yarn for this shawl, and she looked all over the shop and then kept coming back to Kayleen's yarns. Just kept coming. They were calling to her. And so you purchased some.
Yes. Yeah, I got 2 skeins cut. So this is going to be the base. I'm going a little crazy. The pattern is, I think, normally knit with just
I think Kay kind of recommends a more maybe a tonal yarn rather than a super variegated yarn.
Yeah, but
'cause
I'm a
she has
rebel.
she has some there's beautiful like little stars in it. So, but it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, I think it's already beautiful anyway. So
yeah. So this is going to be the body, and then this is going to make up the cable because
cable
it has
edging.
speckles from this yarn. Is that the cat?
it is the cat. Yeah, I had mentioned
Hello,
that before.
cat.
She's under the bed jingling little.
Yeah. So this is going to be my shawl plan.
Nice, yeah, it's going to be
looks like.
just beautiful. Really, really beautiful. I'm really looking forward to that. So she's going to be casting that on this afternoon. We're going to look into doing the little tab cast on, see how that works for you. First time doing that one. So that will be really nice. So she's going to be working on that during this, during it along as well. Plus,
Plus
you have,
socks.
You have another pair?
I have a pair of socks.
Pair
I
of
always have a pair of
socks?
socks. That's like all I knit is socks, but I just haven't. I don't know. Being in Japan just did not make me feel like knitting. I always feel like knitting when I'm like around other knitters. But like when I'm on my own, I just end up like watching TV and staring off and doing nothing, which is not great, but whatever. Yeah, working on a sock.
That's Kay's pattern too, right?
Yeah, this is one of Kay's patterns as well. I think it's called the Prairie Sock, if I'm correct.
So
That's
pretty. I like that yarn.
the pattern. And then because I am excruciatingly lazy, the leg is just vanilla.
You use the fish lips.
Yeah, I always do. Yeah.
like mother, like daughter. You like to do that one.
Well, where do you think I learned how to knit
I
socks?
know.
Didn't learn that on my own.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
fun.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Back to
Back to
knitting.
knitting.
Her poor father. It's all over for him once again. He's like, oh no. It's all fiber, all yarn.
All the
look,
time?
the sun came out, isn't it? It hasn't been out all day. I think it's only out for a brief period of time. Though.
Yeah,
I think there are more
storms
storms
later?
coming. Yeah, a little bit later. So.
A bit later, we're
A
gonna
little
have
bit
some
later.
storms.
A little bit later. So what have you been doing since you got back, or what were your highlights of Japan? What did you enjoy about it? Was it everything you'd hoped to be?
Yes, it was. No, I had a great time. Students are crazy. It was hilarious working with middle schoolers and so I worked at one middle school was my main school, and I alternated at 3 different elementary schools on Thursday and Friday afternoons. So I only worked half days at middle schools on Thursday and Friday, and then popped over to the elementary schools. But as you can imagine, with those age groups, they're crazy.
And so are you. So you fit in
Yes,
really well.
it was so good. It was so good. Like we played like games, and it was crazy. It was so much fun. So I had a great time. Being an English teacher, I had a lot of fun. I did a lot of traveling around the area. I did a lot of good food eaten. Went to a big aquarium. Went to a mountain covered in monkeys. I pet a walrus. I pet an owl. I went to a theme park based entirely around Holland because you know that.
That's what's in Japan.
That's what's in Japan.
That's what they do.
Yeah, I did a lot of.
You did. Well, you went to England.
Oh yeah, I
Went to
spent
England at
Christmas
Christmas, so she went
in
to
England.
England.
My friend was doing her college year abroad in Brighton, in England. So I was just like, you know
I always
what?
want to say she was in Bath. Not.
No, she was not in
went to
Bath.
Bath, but she
was in Brighton.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in Brighton, which is gorgeous because it's a sea town. Oh, so gorgeous. So we did that. And yeah, it was just a really fun year to kind of just experience life, I guess, because last time I was there, I was still in college, and I was there, doing homework and going to school. So this was a very different type of experience living there, because I was living there as like.
Well, you were on your own. You were a professional.
Yes, I was living on my own. I had my own apartment. I was working.
You had to deal
like
with cable
normal.
TV and deal with heating and deal with paying bills and cooking and doing all the regular things that we all do, but in a foreign language. So
Yes.
I don't speak Japanese, but I'm assuming
don't?
that you're.
No,
I don't.
Kasa, maji.
But I'm assuming that you have gained in quite a bit in speaking.
まあだと思いますけど、まだ本当に知らん。
Functioning Japanese language has been
そうよね。
has been increased. Yeah, I think so.
私もそう思います。
I'm sure you have.
はい。
Had to deal with people using the Japanese
本
language.
当ですよ。
That's amazing to do that. So it was a really great. It's a great program. To do that. It's nice because that you are working, but at least there are people there when you first get there to kind of help you through the beginning process, and then you're kind of on your own after that. But still, there's, it's through a specific program, so that worked out really.
Yeah,
well.
no, it was great. There's great
really
support, and I mean, obviously that way you're connected with all of the other people doing the program. So everyone in my prefecture, we hung out all the time. We went and did things together. So that was a really nice, you have that kind of built in, because going into it, you're immediately connected with and meeting all of these other people in the same position as you, being an assistant language teacher in Japan. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I loved it.
It was a great. It's been was a full year, so it's been a long time. I mean, it seemed to go by pretty quickly, but really, it's a long time to be away from from everything that's familiar to me. I think there's probably few and far between actual people that really are able to do that, or think that they want to do that, and just kind of pick up and go. So, but what better time to do it than after your graduation year? It's almost a gap year where you worked. So,
I know. I'm paid to be instead of doing
not
work.
a gap year before college. It was a gap year after college, where you still made
money
and had a job. So now she's back, and she's going to be applying to some positions in Boston. So probably we'll be commuting in together. So lots of knitting and commuting on the bus. Together. So that's really fun. She's kind of over her jet lag.
Can you tell?
That first week it was a lot of sleeping.
Yeah, I would like
a headache and sleep.
I
had
so many. I had bad headaches. I just couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was an adventure.
Yeah. But now she's here, and she'd never seen this house before, so this was really fun to come into this little house. We're looking forward to it. We are, another thing that's going to be coming up is you'll hear more and more about it as we get closer to it, but the Loops Harry Potter knit along as well. We are rapidly coming up to year 5. That will begin in September. It will go September. I mean, it will be, no, actually, October, November, December. Sorry about that. But we've already, the reason I'm thinking, because we have the Great Hall is already open for just kind of pre-chatter in the Loops Ravelry group. Lydia has opened that up. We have a thread for a similar thread to detention, so you can put some whips in there, and if you are able to finish them during the duration of I forget now. See, I don't have the rules in front of me, but
such a good moderator.
I'm such a good moderator, but
so
good. You'll be able to earn some extra points for your house. We are going to have house points again this year, which is really a lot of fun. I am a moderator. I'm the moderator for Hufflepuff House. If you go over to Ravelry and look now, I've changed my avatar to my Hufflepuff, so I'm ready. I'm getting ready. The prefect kits should be going out, I think, at the end of this month, so we should be getting those soon. If you pre-ordered at least one skein of yarn from Lydia's update, you'll be able to get into the knit along. The only requirement is that you purchase one skein of yarn, or you have to knit something with one skein of Loops yarn. So, it's not a trial whatsoever. Loops yarn is fabulous.
No, it's fantastic.
It's just fantastic. She has a wonderful sense of color. I just love her. I love her yarn, and I've been involved in it. This will be my 5th year. So if I really didn't love it, I wouldn't still be doing it. But I've made so many good friends along the way with it, and I've met some at Rhinebeck, and it's just such a wonderful knit along. Really, because it goes for so long, so you really have a chance to talk to people and just really feel like you get to know them, and really you're having conversations every day with people on Ravelry, and you're like, I'm going to see what's going on in the Hufflepuff common room, see if there's any questions or what's going on. And there are different challenges during it, so you have to knit different projects or types of projects. You can knit with different types of yarn, and then there are some, we have a Christmas card and ornament not giveaway,
swap?
Exchange, swap exchange. So we do some of that as well. So it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to the fall this year when that gets underway.
I mean, I'm just looking forward to pumpkin bread, but
I know.
I got simple pleasures in life.
And then of course in October Rhinebeck is happening, and Sophia will be coming to Rhinebeck this year. We actually have just this past week made reservations, and we're going to be staying in a farmhouse. So there will be 7 of us all together right now. So it'll be my sister-in-law Tracy and Sophia and myself and a couple of Sophia's friends from UVM, and one of them, her mom is going to come along as well. So we're really looking forward to it. We're going to be up there we're going to go on Friday, so we're going to stay Friday and Saturday night, so we'll be able to participate on Friday night, any of the activities Friday night, and then Saturday, and we can go back on to Rhinebeck on Sunday before we all go home.
I've never done that. I've only ever done Saturday.
Right, and last year was the first year that Tracy and I went for 2 days, which was really nice because Saturday, especially being a podcaster, Saturday gets really crazy. With the podcaster meetup, and you're really just like talking to people, and it's fabulous. It's so much fun. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's great, but to be able to have that, to just know that you can go back, you're going to be able to go back in on Sunday, and maybe there was something that you really wanted to look at again, or you didn't get on Saturday, and it's just really nice to have that option. So we're going to have a house, so we're going to be cooking together, which will be really, that also will be a lot. That's just so much fun. I'm just looking forward to having all these knitters together and kind of rehashing our experience during the day and having some great food and wine at night. And
yes.
I'm really, really looking forward to it. That will really be a lot of fun. So definitely we'll all be at Rhinebeck. So come and find us.
Yeah.
We'd love to meet you if you're around. It's just, I know there's just going to be so many great podcasters there this year that I want to meet. I'm really excited.
I know, same.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it. So that's kind of where we are right now. We'll let you know as Sophia kind of progresses along with her knitting. You can follow her on Instagram, of course.
Yes, I'm always on Instagram. I kind of live on there.
Yeah. And we do, as I said, we have the Knitting by the Sea podcast, so Ravelry group for the podcast.
I was going to say, I was like, this is
the podcast. We have a Ravelry group as well.
Yes.
So, so we look forward to hearing more from everyone. And I think we'll wrap it up here. And remember, it's just knitting. Bye.
Bye.